We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Hayden Rucci, Miami Dolphins tight end, and he put on a run-blocking clinic in his first preseason game as, an undrafted rookie. Really went out there and just put it on the line, putting people on the ground. Like, he was bullying some of these Falcons second and third teamers, which you like to see because he's a guy that's, probably a practice squad potential player. I don't really see a spot for him on the roster because, of the bodies in that room already. But, going out there, he definitely showed some nice things. Really love the physicality he played with. Definitely could add, something for the future, potentially down the line. I don't know if he has too much receiving upside, but right there, it looks like he's moving around pretty well. Didn't get any targets or anything like that. But really, where, he's going to make his money as a guy on the end line. Like, look at him put this guy down. This is on the Jalen Wright touchdown. Look at him down block. Like, this is a defensive tackle. Like, squares him up, gets control, and look at him just, like, torque him, to the right there, extend that right arm and throws him. Really good job with his hips to get him across. And then then things get like messed up here because 64 bumps into him, he loses his balance. But even while he's losing his balance going to the ground, he's still able to finish the block on 98 and put him on the ground. Like, that's such an impressive block for a tight end, and really that's how he'll find his place sort of in the league, whether it's with the Dolphins or another team, because he has a tough spot path to making this roster. But he could be practice squad. Maybe someone else decides to pick him up if he does get waived. But yeah, he definitely went out there and proved where he can find that role as a blocker, being a potential. I could see him potentially being a tight end 3 for a team down the line. I just want to give him that credit there. So that last play, we saw him down blocking. Here we just see him play side on some outside zone where he's got to get out on the edge defender, the guy that's forced right there, trying to force it to the inside. And he just does a good job driving with that lower half, getting hands inside the frame, like has one hand inside to the sternum, one hand high, that high hand, low hand, and now he's just straining, driving, finishing that block to the ground when the defender, because the defender plays it decently well here at the beginning. He's fighting, straining as well, but once he tries to get that outside path, he just finishes. Ruchi really loved that finish that he was playing with out there because he was doing it early and often, and that stuff. It's not very easy, putting like at least 3-4 guys on the ground throughout the game. Very impressive. And he was playing since the first snap of this game too. He pretty much played the entire game in that tight end rotation. They played a lot. Dolphins played a ton of 12 personnel, and he was probably the best blocker of the bunch. It's just the unfortunate part is Durham Smythe and Julian Hill are locks to make the rosters, and they're more of blockers. So I expect if the Dolphins were to keep a 4th tight end, it would be one of like Connor or Fortson, who was more of a receiver. But you never know with injuries. Here we get to see him work a combo. Get down, get off the ball, show some lateral agility. I think he has enough short area athleticism to be involved. Obviously, could be an athletic and offensive lineman to get out there and get on the move on, these outside zone runs. But I love the finish this time on the backside, of this wind back toss. Get down on 95, strain, finish, continue. Even though Ryan Hayes loses his balance, Ruchi is pushing a big body defensive lineman down the field, not giving up. And I just love the aggressiveness that Hayden Ruchi was playing with throughout this game, and had multiple good blocks. I'm excited to see maybe if he gets used more as a receiver. I don't think he'll, be much of that. He doesn't have the athleticism, the speed, the route running ability, but if he can just be like a sure-handed guy that finds soft spots of his zone, that could really elevate him above, because we already kind of know what to expect from him out of his blocker. Here on the play side of outside zone again, but this time we get to see him. They're like using like a momentum sort of, stretch right here. He's slow playing this initially, staying square, uses this right inside hand to drag hand and slow down number 0. So then Connor can get a body and they can get the crack back on this guy. And he almost the receiver does a good job taking out too. And then he becomes the lead blocker out on the DB on space. And he does a good job just finishing him. Even when off balance, he does a good job, kind of gets over the top there, but still has one hand on him and is just bullying him to the ground. Really nice reps to see there. This one could have been better. I think he could do a better. I think he does a really job on the initial parts of these blocks, but when he needs to climb to the next level, he can get to these things a little bit quicker. He does a great job. Attacks the low hip here on 98. Look how much he's able to move this guy off a spot. Absolutely destroys this on this double team, and that's perfect. But then once you do that, you got to be a little more prepared. Right here, he should start climbing to 45, but then he does it a step too late. And then just, misses that opportunity. It doesn't really matter on the play because that tackle was already made from other people missing their assignments. So a little unfortunate, but overall, just absolute dominant in the trenches. And then here's some of the routes. He ran some downfield routes, and I thought he looked pretty smooth down the seam, snap his head around, nothing too crazy. I don't think he's, the fastest player alive. He looked a little faster there than maybe I expected, but still, do need to see more of him as a receiver. He's ever going to develop into, like a true tight end in this league. But I do think there's roles for players in the league with his skill set who only go out there and block and bully, and some of those guys are actually pretty important to their teams, like the Patrick Ricards, the Kieft from Buccaneers, those type of players who are just like fullback tight end types that line up on the line and literally just only block and maybe catch one pass down in the flat every, 5 games. Don't see that role playing out for Ruchi this season, but maybe if it developed, I like him as a practice squad candidate, and got to give him credit for how he came out here and blocked and definitely played better than I expected. So, good job by Ruchi. Excited to continue going through these films tomorrow. Probably be like a Driscoll, Ethan Bonner day, a couple other players on the horizon. Definitely leave some comments down below who you want to see him film breakdowns on that I haven't done yet, because that'll be coming, and then we'll keep continuing in the preseason regular season. So if you guys really do, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and copy.